This is Texans TV. Texans Extra Points, presented by Community Coffee, official coffee of the Houston Texans. Also sponsored by Reliant, the official energy provider of the Houston Texans. And by your Houston area Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Amegy, the official business bank of the Houston Texans.
Let's go, Squirrel, what we got, man? Hey, 1, 2, 3.
And here's a pick. The Texans have the rock. Here comes pressure. He's going to go down. Touchdown, Houston. Rock and roll.
Ho, 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 my friends, and a Merry Christmas. My name's Drew Dougherty, and we've got Texans Extra Points just for you. And joining us from Sports Radio 610 and the pre- and post-game shows for our Houston Texans, we got Sean Pendergast. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
And great to see the voice of the Houston Texans, Marc Vandermeer. So much to discuss. You all right?
Yes. Holiday stress, none of it. Just game stress, the good kind.
All right. I like that stress that he's talking about. And I want to stress this, because on this show, we've got to get to an impressive rookie that we're talking about in 2023 and beyond. Plus, what Derek Stingley did best this year that's got you pumped for the future. And, as always, we've got Texans to watch against the Titans and then 2 keys to a victory over Tennessee. But we start with some buying or selling. 2 games into this 2 QB experiment, are you buying? Are you selling what they can do just against the Titans? Not long-term, but these 2 QBs against the Titans.
I am putting a moderate sell on it. I don't want them using it as split as it was in the Dallas game and as split as it was early on in the Kansas City game. I think teams have kind of figured some things out, but I'm okay with it situationally from time to time, just to change things up. And in the cold weather in Tennessee, this might be a kind of a pound the rock on the ground kind of game.
Well, I want to buy, but I want to change the management of it in the sense that, maybe a little bit less Jeff, but I like Jeff in there. I like it. I just want to see maybe a few different play calls in there, and I want Jeff to throw the ball a little bit because I think teams are stacking against the run when they see Driscoll in the game.
All right, let's transition to this. One offensive player that I want to see more of in 2023 is
Nico Collins. I want to see more Nico Collins, and mostly because it's been health issues with Nico Collins. You know, he had health issues last year, missed a few games, missed some games earlier this season with the groin, and now with the foot injury. I get concerned. We're 2 years in. He's working on 3 or 4 injuries now, and he's been good when he's been in there. He was a big reason to be optimistic during training camp about this receiving core. I want to see more of Nico Collins next year.
Well, I want to see Chris Moore as part of this thing going forward. Chris Moore had the huge day against Dallas. We all saw it. And I think when he's on the field, productive things happen, not just the tunnel screens, though. I want to see him downfield, and I want to see some more things designed for him. But you got to get time to throw to get him the ball, because I think he can be a game-breaker third receiver in the future of this franchise, but in spot duty, he can be the guy, as we saw.
He seems to catch everything that comes his way. Okay, let's talk about a young player on the Texans who was the bright spot of the season. It's 12 wins, 12 losses in, but a bright spot undeniably was Damien Pierce. He's done, he's on injured reserve. On field or off field, what's your favorite Damien Pierce moment?
On field, my favorite moment was the run where he plowed. He had more.
I gotta say, it's the run.
He had more broken tackles on that run than I think the Texans might have had in 2021 as a team. So that one. Off the field, it was during one of the post-game shows that we did with him. He's awesome. He comes on the post-game show with us. He got done with his interview. We still had a few minutes left in the segment. He waited around because he wanted to take a picture with me and Clint Sterner. So that was my favorite. Is that Damien Pierce actually want to stick around and take his picture?
That's why I asked this question. I knew you'd tell that story. I love it. You got a unique perspective on as well.
Well, look, I love the 75-yard touchdown run because I love that full throttle, third longest run in the history of the franchise. And I just think that when you can break a game open with a run like that, the angry runs, we see them, and it's awesome. But when you have that kind of speed, that kind of ability, it's going to help the team so much in the future. Got to get some more guys in here to complement him.
Our good friend John Harris, who we're going to hear from in a second with the Telestrator, he gets extra footage during training camp and gets kind of an extra peek at what is going on. And my first Damien Pierce moment, I think it's my favorite one, it's late July, early August, and I'm just kind of looking over John's shoulder, and he's like, check out this run. And it's Damien Pierce getting the ball, hitting the line of scrimmage, and then it's like they sped the film up, and he was into the secondary in the blink of an eye, and I took notice, and then he started doing what he did in the preseason. It was just so much fun to see that and then see it come to fruition when the games actually mattered. Okay, we got to get into some defensive chit-chat after this break. But before we do, like we mentioned, John is rocking the Telestrator, talking about the red zone.
Boy, it's nice to see Tegan Quatoriano get back in the end zone, and he did a really athletic thing here for his touchdown. Let's take a look. There are a lot of different things that are going with this play. They come out in 12 personnel, so one back and then two tight ends. But what's nice about your two tight ends is they can be receivers in third down situations. So they're going to put Akins here in the slot. We're not really going to focus on this side. I mean, they have some things going on. We're not going to worry about that over here. We're going to worry about this over here. What you've got is Dare and a linebacker popping out, and then you have Snead against Quatoriano. Tegan does a great job right off the bat of, you can see Snead try and jam, quick jam him. Like, watch the quick jam, boom. He tries to beat him with that jam. And then Quatoriano knows, okay, that's man coverage. So he widens him, trying to get him wide so he can work back in here. That's going to take this guy out of play, or anything this guy might be able to do. That's too far. But he's just trying to widen him so he's got more room for Davis to stick that ball in there. So as a rookie, a good job here of beating the jam, getting inside, getting him on your hip, widening him out a little bit, and then getting back in this spot right here. Then Davis is going to deliver a dime right between Bolton and right between Snead. Look at that. That's where that ball's got to be. Make a decision quickly. Make the throw quickly. You're going to score a touchdown. And that's exactly what happens here. The irony of this play is the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs ran this exact same play to Travis Kelce in the exact same spot on the field on 2015 against the Texans. Now, let's take a look at one other aspect here. This offensive line, Titus Howard came in here at left guard. They give great protection here. They get it blocked up. They're going to stop everything here. Davis has got plenty of time. Look at that pocket. That's exactly where you want that pocket to be, that he's got clean footwork, excellent sight lines in here to Quatoriano. He throws the ball. Now watch when he throws this ball, right? That ball is thrown right as Quatoriano turns his head. Everything is absolutely perfect on that play, and it's got to be down in the red zone, especially in the low red zone. They came together there to give the Texans a 7-0 lead.
On 2nd and goal at the 8, Mills gets the snap, looking, throwing to the end zone. Got a man, caught, touchdown, Tegan Quatoriano. 8-yard touchdown pass from Mills to the tight end as the Texans score first.
Takeaway train got rolling against the Kansas City Chiefs with a beautifully constructed call here from Lovie Smith and the Texans defense. The Chiefs are going to give a lot of eye candy. They're going to start in a condensed 2x2. So 2 here, 2 here. Noah Gray is then going to shift and trade over to the other side. Patrick's trying to get some coverage reads here. So he's pointing some things out, and then he's going to bring back Sky Moore in motion this way. So the thought is you're going to get linebackers' eyes going this way, and then you're going to run back this way. So when Moore comes in motion, you'll see how they interchange. Eric Murray comes over here, and MJ Stewart is going to fly up and then fill where Murray was. Okay? They're going to rotate the coverage. What looked like cover 2 is now looking like a single safety high. Looks like it's going to be cover 3. But that's where the Chiefs have the issue, because this is just a simple run play, kind of inside zone play, and the Texans are slanting to the right side. So Heinisch comes on this side, Addison jumps inside of Wiley, and that's the problem. Wiley doesn't get his head across, and because of that, Addison is free. See how he gets free of that right there, and now he is right in the face of Pacheco. Pacheco never sees him. So the slant inside, beat Wiley, make the hit, ball's on the ground. Now nobody knows the ball's on the ground, right there, except for one guy, right there. He sees the ball. And because he's running after the ball, everybody's standing around, he of course runs into a guy that didn't know he had the ball, but the Texans come up with it. Let's take a look at it from this angle right here. Oop, let's go to the right angle, there we go. You'll see it again here. Heinisch, work this way, and Pacheco runs right into it. You'll see the eye candy here. Here comes Sky Moore coming across. You see the safeties interchange. All right, and there's Addison, bang. Great form tackle, popped it out. Desmond King making a play. Man, was that a huge play. 2 plays later, Davis Mills, 17-yard touchdown. That's how it all comes together, complimentary football-wise.
Here's Mahomes under center. First down, Chiefs from their 22. A handoff and met in the hole. Pacheco, the ball comes out, and the Texans say they have it. They do. Desmond King comes out of the pack with it.
there's punching now.
Yeah, Finnegan and Andre Johnson going after it. Both of the helmets were ripped off. And Andre Johnson's, he connected on a couple of haymakers on Finnegan.
We got to talk about the defense in this segment, but Andre Johnson beating up Cortland Finnegan, we come in with that. That's a nice. It just segues with anything. It goes with.
It goes with the holiday season, really. It's one of the most joyous occasions that I've ever been a part of.
It really is, and I bring that up because it's Texans Titans week, and this is Sean, this is Marc, I'm Drew. So let's chit chat about a couple of defenders who have been. We brought bright spots up earlier with Damien Pierce, Jalen Petrie, and Christian Harris. Those two guys did not come off the field last weekend. They played every single snap. What do they mean to this defense moving forward?
I think leadership, I think playmaking ability, and I think just football acumen. You can tell like Christian Harris missed all of training camp, and he got up to speed pretty quickly for a guy who hadn't played any professional football really other than a few practices leading up to week 6. And I think Jalen Petrie has the potential to be a Pro Bowler. The move to him back to free safety, I think, has really kind of reignited him after we went through kind of a lull in the middle part of the season.
Yeah, and he's got about 30-some tackles in the last 3 weeks, Petrie does.
Yeah, can we get some love for the undrafted rookies here? Kurt Hinish back in the lineup last week. And look, I know the Chiefs had a lot of yards, but you held the point total relatively low for them, and obviously tied after regulation. That was something. And then you have Jake Hansen from Illinois, who's making some plays, had the fumble recovery. I like that as well. It shows that, hey, the undrafteds in the future could yield something. So
okay, but we have not brought up the first pick, Derek Stingley Jr. He hasn't played in quite some time, and we're not going to see him again this year. But we did see some good, did we not, in 2022?
Had not given up a touchdown. And, I listen to the morning show on Sports Radio 610. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but they always talk about, hey, he plays a lot of this zone coverage. Can we see him man-to-man? Well, we'll see how it goes in the future and how they use him. But the talent is there. The ability is there. Got to get him healthy. Got to stay healthy because he's going to make plays if he stays healthy.
Yeah, as far as Stingley goes, I'm familiar with that show. It's a good show, and I thought they make a lot of good points about that. And I when we come at it from that standpoint, I'm coming at it as much as a fan as I am somebody who's analyzing what I'm seeing out there. They drafted him with the 3rd overall pick. I want to see him man up against some of these guys, and I'm disappointed with the injury because he really did miss some opportunities to go against some marquee guys, against Washington and Miami and Dallas and so forth. I like the physical package with Derek Stingley. I would like to see him deployed differently next season when he does come back.
All right, since you're here, we got to do an over-under. So over-under, how many takeaways the Texans going to get this weekend? I'm going to set the number at 1.5. They going over, they going under?
I think they're going over. Okay. I think they're kind of riding a wave right now. They've been forcing these turnovers the last couple of games. These haven't been, by and large, fluky. The muff punt is a fluky sort of thing. But especially against Kansas City, they were hitting out there. This defense they've been laying the wood lately, and the weather, I don't think is going to be super conducive to holding on to the football at times, so I'm going over 1.5.
All right, Marc, where are you saying?
I'm going over as well. The train's starting to roll again, the takeaway train. It was quiet for a while, but we got the wheels turning again, and I think that these things are like bananas. They come in bunches, right? The takeaways, and you're right about the hitting, Sean. It's interesting to see how hard they're hitting, how hard they're playing against these teams that are in contention, and there's no reason why it's not going to continue in the next few weeks, because now you're in the division in this mini AFC South tournament. Let's go.
Kansas City did not like the hard hitting last week.
No, they didn't. They got up looking at the refs a lot in that game. A lot.
Way too much for my liking. Okay, it's time for some Texans trivia. So you guys stay quiet because I know you're going to answer this. Who scored the very first touchdown for the Texans the very first time they played the Titans? It was a roadie in 2002. We'll have that answer later on in Texans Extra Points.
Goes over the top. Johnson with the catch. Touchdown, Texans. Spectacular catch by Andre Johnson.
That was a fun touchdown. I was actually at that game. It was the first road game I ever covered as a member of the Houston Texans media staff at Tennessee, week 2, 2009. Dre went off on that touchdown. There was a fist fight on the benches that preceded the one we saw earlier in the show that was in 2010, the year later with Cortland Finnegan and Dre. Sean Pendergast, Marc Vandermeer. Let's talk about this Tennessee Titans team. They've lost 4 straight. There's issues at quarterback as far as who's going to start, who's going to play. How vulnerable are these Titans right now?
I think as vulnerable as they're going to be. You know, look, for the purposes of the Texans, they still do have Derrick Henry.
Sure.
That's been a problem for the Texans. I'm not sure if people have noticed that the last few times that they played against them. So that's still going to be an issue. That that they can line up and play kind of vanilla. At least history tells us that against the Texans. But super vulnerable right now, and especially without Ryan Tannehill possibly in this game.
All right, what's your vulnerability scale looking like, Marc?
Well, they're back at home, and they're playing a team that they've had good success against, at least 2 out of the last 3. I mean, the Texans beat them there last year with Tyrod Taylor rushing for a couple of touchdowns. I think that with a 4-game losing streak, they are desperate. Jacksonville breathing down their necks, and Jacksonville controls its own destiny. The Titans are well aware of that, but the Jags have already played. We'll see how it goes. I think that they are vulnerable, but until you stop Derrick Henry, until you prove you can do it, you were able to do it in 2019 up there a little bit, slow them down at least. Got to at least slow them down and get takeaways in order to win the game.
Okay, when these two teams last met in the middle of the season, it was a 7-3 ball game at the intermission. Titans came out of the half. They ran the ball 19 straight times on offense. They built up that 17-3 lead. Eventually, it was a 17-10 defeat. Over-under. 29.5 carries for Derrick Henry. He's had 30 the last 3 times he's played this Texans team, and he's gone 200 yards. He's had 2 touchdowns. Is he cracking 29.5 this week?
No!
All right, I like it.
Going under. He's going under. Look at Henry since he's played the Texans, and look at the Texans since they played Henry. Look, I know they've given up some rushing yards, there's no doubt, but they've gotten off the field. You know, they've made some key stops here. So some of the yards have some carbohydrates in there, and you're able to get possessions, right? If you can get takeaways, you can not negate, but you can take away some of the impact of Henry, and I think he goes under. He had 4 straight games in double-digit yardage, which is so unlike him, but 2 of those were wins. So they can win in other ways, and I think they could still win this game and have Henry not completely go off, but I think you hold him under 29 carries, which means maybe you hold him under 200, which would be nice.
I don't have the nutritional chart on any of Henry's carries or the possessions like Marc does with the carbohydrates. I'm going over 29.5. I'm going over 29.5, and I think what you touched on, Marc, they're in a desperate situation right now, and I think when you're in a backs against the wall desperate situation, the tendency is going to be to lean on what you do well, and handing the ball off to Derrick Henry is the best thing that they do.
To back up your point, now I'll switch. They might go direct snap to Henry on occasion because why not? Tannehill hurt, Malik Willis, whatever. Just until they can stop Henry, the Texans go with Henry, feed him the ball right out of the shotgun, and see what he can do there.
Vrabel's never been afraid to do that against the Texans with Henry. Yeah, that's a staple almost of that offense. Okay, Texans to watch. Who's your Texan to watch against the Titans?
I'm going to go Christian Harris because I want a big Christian Harris moment. He led the team in tackles last week. But let's see Christian Harris come up with a signature play in Nashville on Christmas Eve. So I could say Merry Christmas in the call, too. That would be nice.
He had 3 TFLs this last weekend. Yep. Double-digit tackles. You got a good one, too.
Mine is Malik Collins. Yeah. For the exact reason that we were just talking about Derrick Henry. Malik Collins has been really good since he came back from the injury. He was throwing people around last week. He's been good all year when he's been on the field. This is going to be a between-the-tackles game. He is the biggest difference maker in that front group when it comes to defending the run. He was not on the field when this team played the Titans back in Week 8. He was injured in that game. He'll play in this game, Malik Collins.
I'm going to go with Jalen Petrie. I've chosen him a lot of times this season, but let's see a pick. Let's see another double-digit performance from Petrie. Okay, we've got more Texans extra points because we got to get you 2 keys to a victory from each of us. We'll be back after the break.
Texans Extra Points, presented by Community Coffee, official coffee of the Houston Texans. Also sponsored by Reliant, the official energy provider of the Houston Texans. And by Mattress Firm, the official sleep partner of the Houston Texans.
Earlier we asked you, who was the first Texan to score a touchdown against the Titans? So, refresher, Texans played Tennessee in 2002 on the road, around the middle of the season, and they lost 17-10. So who got that only touchdown for the Texans?
Honestly, this one is escaping me, but maybe Billy Miller. How about that?
Close, but...
I'll go Corey Bradford.
Close as well. It was Jared Baxter. Hammering it in, yes. He got a touchdown late, and then the Texans actually stopped him on defense with about 2 minutes and change. but they could not convert there after that. This is Sean Pendergast. That's Marc Vandermeer. I'm Drew Dougherty. We're going to wrap things up with 2 keys to a victory. What must the Texans do to beat the Titans?
Well, look, obviously you got to get off the field in third down situations, right? I mean, that is going to be absolutely crucial. And I think that Royce Freeman, who we saw have some Pierce-like runs, I'm not saying he's Damien Pierce, but he had some Pierce-like runs, some angry runs, some yak. We need some more yak out of Royce Freeman. So Royce rolls on Saturday.
Mine are, the first is put heat on whoever is back there at quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. Ryan Tannehill is turnover prone. Malik Willis is young. Whoever's playing quarterback, this pass rush has been better at getting heat on the passer over the last few weeks, making things uncomfortable for guys back there. I think that's number one. For offensively for the Texans, they got to stay out of third and long. They cannot be in third and long. They've got to be in manageable down and distance situations, especially if the weather's going to be like it is and it's going to be more of a cold weather running kind of game. Stay ahead of the chains.
Those are good. Mine are pretty simple. Make them throw. After the break, I brought that stat up about 19 straight runs. They ran at 26 of 27 offensive snaps in the second half. You let that happen again, you're dead meat. Make them throw and then gimme. Get the ball from them. Get a couple takeaways. You got to have that happen because if not, Derrick Henry will have his way. All right, it's always good to be with the both of you, good friends, good football talkers. And make sure you're watching us next week. We're going to be back on Saturday night. It'll be in the afternoon, though, around 5:30 before Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve. Can you believe we're still doing that?
We're the lead-in.
Yeah, and that's a way to kind of get it going. Or Ryan Seacrest or one of those guys. Yeah. Rest in peace, Dick Clark.
We're still named after him.
Yeah, it is.
All right, for Marc and Sean, I'm Drew. We'll see you next time. Merry Christmas, and thanks for watching Texans Extra Points.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to know when we post new content.